Hi folks, a quick one today because Annabelle requested a video of some stretches with no equipment required. So let's see what we can do. I'm going to try and stretch through the whole body requiring no equipment apart from the back of a dining room chair, which hopefully everybody has access to something they can lean on. So I'm going to start off with feet and ankles, and all I'm going to do is holding onto my chair for balance. Got my toes on the ground and I'm just going to circle my feet one way and then the other way, and this should be really easy and comfortable, and if it's not, just stay within the easy comfortable range. You can get a bit of a stretch but there shouldn't be any pain. I'm just going that one way with one foot and then the same with the other. So stretching off the ankles to start with, and then we're going to stretch off the calves. I'm not going to go through both legs each time. But if we then stretch off the calves, so I'm going to start off, so I'm stretching off the back calf here, so all my weight's on the back foot and on the chair. I've got hardly any weight on the front foot at all. It's just there to keep me balanced really, and so maybe 20% of my weight on the front leg, but the rest is on the back. I'm just taking my knee forward as far as I can while keeping my knee straight, heel on the ground, and that is stretching the upper calf muscle. So I'm really feeling that sort of up around the top there. And I can play with that stretch a bit by turning my foot in, and then I can feel it more on the outside of the calf, and I can turn my foot out, and I don't feel that so much because I'm more flexible inside of the calf, but depending on where you're more flexible, have a play around with angles. And then you can also stretch lower down in the calf. I'm keeping my heel on the floor and just dropping my knee, and then I feel it far more in the old Achilles tendon. So that's a good stretch for the calves. We then move up to the knees. Getting the knees to circle is not a bad thing. So I've been doing this in my auntie's yoga class for the past couple of weeks. So I'm just working on getting my knees to move in circles one way and circles the other way. And again, you can go as deep or as shallow as you like, depending on how clicky and sore your knees are, but that's quite a nice knee exercise. And then we're going to stretch out the quads and the hamstrings at front and back of thigh. Now, quite nice stretch that I use for the hamstrings is I want you to imagine that you're shutting a car door with your butt and shutting the car door and shutting the car door, and it's this one that we're stretching. Doesn't really matter where the toe goes because the hamstring doesn't go down as far as the ankle, so for me my toe comes up naturally, but it's just a question of sort of sticking my butt out because that's when I feel the stretch down the back of the hamstring. And you can hold that for 30 seconds as a development stretch, or you can just sort of work into it to get more flexibility within the muscle. And then for the quad, we're looking at getting hold of the ankle if you can. If not, put a towel around your foot. And then from there, what I want to do is to push my hip forward because the quad attaches just above the pelvis. So if I extend the pelvis slightly, then I'll feel more stretch. Whereas if I'm sort of here, I won't feel it so much. So bring the knee back in line with the other one and then just push that hip forward a little bit to get more quad stretch there. I'm then going to come up to pelvis. And for the pelvis, what I quite like to imagine is that the pelvis is like a bowl of water. And I'm going to tuck it under as far as I can, and then I'm going to tilt it back. Tuck under, tilt back, tuck under, tilt back. All the movement is coming from the pelvis. And then I do the same thing side to side. So again, it's just sticking my butt out as far as I can each way, and then circling it. So I'm creating a whirlpool in my pelvis as far as I can. That's a stretch that I really like for the pelvis. And then as we move up into rib cage, I'm going to just start doing some circles through here. So I'm just stretching around as far as I can, basically trying to keep my hips facing forward, and then body round. If I look at my back shoulder, that increases the stretch a little bit, and then come round this way. And again, that's going to increase the stretch, and gradually work that into a full body stretch. So I'm going to take it all the way around. I'm going to reach behind me with this hand, reach onto my shoulder with this hand, and let the other foot come up. So it's a full body stretch there. And then come around this way. So foot's going to come up. I'm going to reach onto my shoulder with this hand, round my back with this hand, look over my shoulder, as far as I possibly can. So I'm getting a full body stretch there. Then coming into shoulders, I'm going to bring a stretch across here. So I'm getting a stretch through here, just down that sort of flank area there. Same thing on this side. Then I'm going to reach up behind my back there, and I can try and meet it. As you can see, I cannot meet my hands together, and I'm even worse on this side, but it's worth a try. And again, if you want to use a yoga strap or a stick or something like that, just to try and work your hands closer together, that's a great idea. And then finally, I use my chair to stretch my neck. I just take the things off the chair. So with a neck stretch, what I quite like is, first of all, I'm just going to lengthen my neck. So I'm going to tuck my chin in slightly, and imagine I've got the string from the top of my head to the ceiling. I'm then going to, depending on how long your arm is, you might want to reach underneath the side of the chair or underneath your bottom. So I can just about reach underneath the side of the chair because I've got short arms. And then I'm going to, so that holds my shoulder down, and then I'm just going to tilt my head slightly. I'm going to play around with the angles until I get to the angle that is the most stretch for me, which is just about there. And I'm just going to breathe into that stretch. And then I'm going to come up, anchor my other hand. And again, just play around with the angles. So on this side, the stretch is more there. And that's it. And I have stretched. Oh, one more. Again, this is one of my auntie's yoga ones, which is quite nice. It's just taking the head in a circle, and my neck always makes some fairly satisfying clicking noises. Again, shouldn't be painful. None of this should be painful, but it's just a question of, you know, sort of taking everything through its full range every day, as long as it's, you know, pain-free. And you can push into the stretch, but I don't want you pushing into pain. So there you go.